Lova, what kind of role social media and citizen journalism have in political and social change?
Yes, I think it plays an important role. This role sometimes is overstated, like during the Arab Revolution, for example. We talk about Facebook revolution, Twitter revolution, or WikiLeaks revolution. I think when we use those terminology, sometimes we make the mistake of putting the highlight on the tool, which what the social network is, all those Twitter and Facebook. It's extremely important, but it has to start with people. People is what creates the content. So it's a great tool to organize, to publicize what people are doing. But as far as social and political change, it varies according to the context. I think we can see that it was extremely important in Egypt and Tunisia. It also played a role in other part of the continent in Africa, but in a different way. So I believe Twitter and Facebook can transform because it gives the opportunity to local people to feel that they're engaged in what's going on around them. They participate. That's what I said. And this is extremely important either way, whether it makes a very big impact at the end is not that important actually. Just the fact that people feel like, okay, this is my voice and it's been heard and I know where it's going right now is, I think, the main point of social media.
Somebody says time of blog and bloggers finished. Future in social communication is a Twitter, a sort of a citizen press agency.
Right.
What do you think about that?
Well, I think that's overstating the case. I totally understand that we need to have real-time news, something that is short and concise for people to just know where to go. I think Twitter for the African continent, which I know better, is great in a way because sometimes just the bandwidth or of internet or just being connected is quite difficult. So if there is a short way to say something that doesn't need very big speed for connection, then it's good. So Twitter, just 140 characters, great. You can just say, okay, this is what's happening here, and you can use your cell phone and things like that to get information out. So microblogging is great, but there is a big but, I think, is that we are a little too obsessed sometimes with keeping up with news, and it's understandable. 2011, so many things happened. We need to know right away what's happening. But I think eventually we need to step back and look at all those tweets and say, okay, what can you get from this? What is the lesson? And if you want the lesson, you want the lesson from the people on site. The people who are writing those tweets, they need a larger platform where they can write more than just 140 characters and where they can actually put some thought and reflection on what they just saw. And I think saying that blogs and other platforms are on their way down is not understanding that there's always a need to have a larger thought process, something that can summarize, synthesize the event that just happened the week before, the month before. There is definitely the need for fast news, real-time news, and there's a need for a more reflective piece, something that puts into context what has been said, but not exactly, and something more like an investigative blogging per se. And there is room there. There is room between some investigative journalism that requires a lot of money, maybe to go and build up a case. And there is the need for Twitter and real-time news, but there is also a need for the people who write on Twitter to be able to have a larger platform and give the context. And I think context is very key sometimes. We live in this 24 hours news cycle, things always happening everywhere in the world, and at some time we need to pause and step back and say, okay, what is it that I really need to know, or what is it that I can learn from this? And I think that's where Global Voices is going. Those people who write on Twitter from Ivory Coast or from Kenya or from wherever you want or from Morocco, they provide the real-time news, but they also are the best people to provide the reflection, the thought behind the news that they just posted. And we need to make sure that those thoughts are kept somewhere, and hopefully it's Global Voices.